Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. Matchup that matters here. What do you got?
Well, a guy that balled against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this last week, Jordan Lewis. Their nickel corner spends all the time in the slot. So you look at, all right, how does he match up against Philadelphia Eagles and who is he going to be matched up with? And you have Devontae Smith. He's in the slot about 55.6% of the time. AJ Brown spends a tiny bit of time in there. I believe like 13% of his snaps this season have come in the slot, but not a whole lot. So you think, all right, Jordan Lewis and Devontae Smith is going to be the matchup. And you look at what Jordan Lewis was able to do with that interception that he willed into existence. I mean, he just ripped it out of their hands. This was an extraordinarily physical game. It was incredible play. And then you see, the heartbreaking fumble at the end if you're a Bucs fan, but also one of the best fumbles I've seen forced this season, because this Dallas Cowboys defense in particular was incredibly physical this last week. I don't know where that came from. Again, the Cowboys have nothing to play for at this point, but you know that they hate the Eagles. That's all the motivation that they need. This is a team that wants to play spoiler in any way that they possibly can. Philadelphia is out of the running for the 1 seed, given the Lions and the Vikings and how they're going neck and neck for it. But as much as you can get the Philadelphia Eagles to lose for the Dallas Cowboys, they want to do that. So I fully expect this to be another very physical game out of this Dallas defense. And I think Jordan Lewis is going to lead the way, and he deserves a shout out because he balled out last game.
I think the Cowboys run defense versus Saquon Barkley is sort of the obvious.
Yeah. Sure.
But I feel like we have to say that, right? Because you look at where these two teams are. The Cowboys' run defense has been better in the second half of the season. They were dead last in the NFL in run defense grade as a team through the first half of the season. Second half of the season, it is a little bit better for them. Saquon Barkley last week hit 150 rushing yards, but 109 of them came in the first quarter. And then you only had 41 for the other 3 quarters. And I think that's a big reason why you saw them open the door for the Commanders to come back and win that football game. Now, I don't think it's just they were like, oh, like let's ignore Saquon Barkley. Like, I don't think that that's what happened, but it needs to be a little bit more.
You didn't have Jalen Hurts as part of that anymore.
Of course, and I think all that stuff goes into it. But with Hurts and the uncertainty of where he is with his concussion, because, I mean, we probably won't know until much later this week of whether or not he's going to play because it's concussion protocol. How they use Saquon Barkley as a constant for 4 quarters is going to be a major part of the game plan that they're devising in this one. Again, especially against a Cowboys team that really struggles to defend the run, or at least has at certain points this season. So they're better at this, but it's in Philadelphia. You know that they're going to want to run the football with Saquon. They all want to see him, get that record, which I think is still in reach for him, if I remember correctly. How many yards short is he? I can't remember exactly off the top of my head how many yards short he is, but I feel like it is still realistic for him. Because what was it? It was like 124 over the last 4 games that he had. And he got 150 last week. Now let me look up how many he got in the previous week. Where's the Eagles? Eagles. He had only 65 rushing yards. So all right, so it's gonna be pretty tough. He's gonna have to average like 140 or something like that over these next 2 games. But so that might be tough, but it's not a script where you got to get 140 rushing yards. But I do think utilizing him more throughout the entire game has to be a priority on their mind versus the Cowboys run defense unit. What about a plus factor here in this game?
Yeah, well, you talk about guys that have motivation as well. It's Micah Parsons, and he's been on a tear. The last 5 games, he has 6.5 sacks. He's playing to get paid. I know that he came out and said he doesn't care if he's like the highest paid non-quarterback, whatever.
His agent loved that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, whatever. Also, I don't believe you for a second, Micah. So this is something that, he still has a lot to prove, and he can absolutely kind of force the leverage on the Dallas Cowboys, which is something that they would walk right into given the fact that they don't do these contracts until the last minute. I'll never understand it. I'll never understand that as a business practice. I love that it gives the players the leverage, because I'm never going to advocate for an organization over the players. But I mean, it's why you see Dak Prescott with no trade clauses and no tag clauses and all that other stuff, and being the highest paid quarterback in the league, because you waited to the last minute to do his contract. And that's kind of the pace that they're on with Micah Parsons. And so Micah Parsons can continue to force their hand the better he does down the stretch. So these last 2 games, and especially when you do it against a division opponent, that means a lot just internally in general. So I really think that the plus factor here is Micah Parsons getting after, again, the best offensive line in the league. But he's got a lot of motivation personally, and this team in general does too.
Plus factor here for me is Cooper Rush. And again, Dalton Washington on the review show did a really nice job pointing out how well he has been playing. 70.7 passing grade this past game, 26 for 35 against the Bucs, 292 passing yards, had 1 touchdown, 2 big time throws. He had the turnover where he played to JJ Russell, which could have been a backbreaker for them. But outside of that, I mean, he was playing well. He's got an elite passing grade on passes of over 10 plus yards. And so he is getting better. And so I want to make sure that I give him the credit where it is due. And certainly if Kenny Pickett is the starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, how Cooper Rush has played over the last 2 or 3 weeks goes into you thinking, all right, he's probably the better quarterback in this game, right? And I think that that the Cowboys got to feel good about that anytime that's the case, even going up against a monster that is the Eagles just roster overall. So I don't think Cooper Rush is going to be what Jaden Daniels was last week, but he has certainly been playing better lately. And it is worth noting, at least, that he's playing some of his best football. So plus factor there is Cooper Rush for me. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe the video. And if you don't have a PFF Plus subscription, you can get one to see all the premium stats that we talked about here on the show, plus the expert betting and fantasy advice over at subscribe.pff.com. The description is also right below. So if you are not a PFF Plus subscriber, you can come one today.